Hey everybody, it's Rob here. You might have seen this message here pop up. The item has reached its temper reroll limit. This is a huge frustration point for players right now, especially with triple GA affixes. And I just want to make this video here to talk about my opinion, talk about possible solutions, and also want to hear your thoughts in the comments about what you think should be done with tempering or if it's fine like this, and also answer some very common questions, such as how to the hell get crit damage on your weapons. So let's get into it. I think the new item system, first of all, of Diablo is amazing. They have done a fantastic job going from the old system to this new system. The itemization feels meaningful. I get these like, oh wow moments if I find my pieces, and if I find this like triple GA item or something, like you can go crazy and you get this like, you know, dopamine, like crazy rewarding moments when you find them on the ground. It's very good for RPGs to have a good loot system. But there is a big frustration point, guys, and this has to do with the tempering of affixes. And this is like a very limited mechanic you can do. You only have 5 tries at the moment, and you can't reset it, unlike masterworking, which can be very easily resetted here for the cost of 5 million gold. But people are going frustrated because they literally brick their perfect items and they are farming for hours and hours and hours to just then brick their items with actually a pretty high probability. There's been like a lot of talks about pity mechanics and about like all different kinds of things and rumors and things that we're experimenting with. But one problem just remains, guys, that people are like destroying the items that they find. They get this like crazy moment where they find a triple stat item, but then it just bricks completely during the tempering process, and it's essentially completely useless. And there is right now no way to reset it. And there have been a lot of talks of like all the different methods that you could use to reset them. But first of all, I want to talk about the most annoying thing for me about the temper system. And it's not the resetting, but it is the mislead of the player base where certain tempering recipes do not exist on certain classes. This has been by far the most asked topic in my channel here and also in the comments, is because I've been recommending rolling crit damage on your Barb temperings basically for all the weapons, because that's the only way to really scale your multipliers, such as gushing wounds, which is finally been bug fixed and actually is a proper multiplier now, allowing you to essentially multiply your damage on all the bleed builds, and is very strong at the moment because you can reach some pretty crazy amount of crit chance and crit damage here on your character. And the only way at the moment, guys, to imprint or to temper crit damage and also vulnerable damage is to make another class. And this is just crazy to me, how the Barbarian, and also other classes, but the Barbarian is like the master of weapons, and he is too stupid, he can't figure it out how to temper crit or vulnerable on your gear. And I think this really needs to change, because it's extremely frustrating, extremely misleading to players to make another class to play their main class most optimally. And people don't understand. They're searching for hours trying to find this temper recipe, which, spoiler alert, does not exist on the Barb. You have to go on your rogue. You have to level your rogue to a specific level to then get the crit temper. It's a manual that only exists on the rogue. And I'm just going to show you this really quick. You need to basically make a rogue, level it in Helltide, and then you got to go on your rogue. We're going to do this here real quick. And you take your Barb weapons on robbery here. This rogue is just level 70. That's when I got the crit plan. It's called Marksman Finesse. And this is just crazy to me. Like, this is not only happening on Barb. This is for all the other classes. Like a Sorc also needs crit damage, but it can't temper crit damage. So you're kind of forced to make these classes. You see here, my rogue is like full of Barbarian weapons. She can't even equip. Look. This item needs to be equipped by another class, can't be equipped by your class. But I still have to temper, you know, if I want crit damage, I still have to temper my item right here on the rogue. So, like, it's this aspect here, offensive, and then it's the Marksman Finesse. This is how you get crit damage, guys. And you can only find this plan on your rogue. And even if you find this plan on your rogue, you still can't use it on your Barb, because not enough dexterity, not enough intelligence, man. It's just a Barb, you know, full all evolution points into strength. Too stupid to figure it out. So you gotta make a rogue, guys. And I think a good solution would be to make a generic recipe for crit damage and vulnerable damage that can be used by every class. I think that's the only solution, because it's kind of stupid and people don't understand it. It's confusing, and players are just getting extremely frustrated with this, because it is by far the best and the only way to get multiplicative damage from your hemorrhage, or multiplicative damage from your gushing wounds, or on other classes you also get crit multipliers and things like that. So this is just the main frustration point I personally, as a content creator, as a streamer, have with this. And I think also many beginning and newer players are like really confused about this. And I think it would just be a very easy fix and a huge W for the game if they would just make this recipe, or create a new recipe which is crit damage and vulnerable damage, and just, you know, make it accessible for everybody to use. But that is just as far as like one of the most frustrating things with the system. But what most players and most you know, average players are experiencing is the bricking of items. So you only have 5 chances, a total of 7 if you count the rest, and it can completely destroy items. And I quickly want to talk with you about some possible options. I already made a video about this, but we have had some more possible ideas. And I like that the cost is meaningful. I think, in my opinion, it should be a very high or even a time-gated cost that you can't do over and over again. Because at that point, if you can just do it indefinitely with a very cheap cost, like let's say it only costs 10 million gold to reset your tempers, I think that would be a bad solution. Because then people will just get like cap out their gear like very quickly, you know, because it adds, you know, to the item and the loot hunt that you need to craft the item, and it needs to, you know, have a significant cost, and just not like just for free basically. So the tempering itself is very cheap, but it has this limit, and that is very frustrating. So I think, first of all, my first possible solution, and there could be multiple solutions, but the first one I think is, the more greater affixes an item has, the more tempering chances you should get for that item. And let me know what you think about that in the comments. I think for every greater affix that the item has, it probably is warranted to add 2 tempering chances. So you have 1 greater affix here, like I have on this mace here. This is one of my starter maces. So if I were to like temper this, instead of 5, it would have 7 chances in total. Or maybe 1. I mean, I could see 1 as well. But per greater affix, either 1 or 2 extra chances. So on a triple stat, like this is the one that bricked here, like this is just useless. I can't temper it anymore. I don't want damage while Warcry is active. It's just basically damage on Tuesdays. I would like to, you know, temper this more, but I can't. And this one is a triple stat, so it would be worth it for me. I'm trying this on my new Whirlwind build here. Would be a huge upgrade to my current weapon, but I can't use it. And it would be cool to, you know, have more temper affixes as baseline, depending on how many greater affixes you have. So if you have a triple item, you would have either 11 rerolls or 8 temper rerolls, which would almost double the amount of rerolls that you have available right now. So 1 or 2 extra temper reroll chances, or durability, I think they call it. So if you see here, I'm just picking something, you see here, it's a temper rerolls remaining. It used to be called durability on the PTR, I think so. Just this one here, extra temper rerolls. So goes up by 1 or 2 per greater affix. This would still allow you to just only have 5 on non-greater affix items, but if you find those really good items, you have extra chances and it gets less frustrating to temper. The second solution, this is only one solution. The second solution they could do on top of this, and here are a couple options. I think, and I said this in my previous video, people didn't like it, or a lot of people didn't like it, but I think it needs to be something meaningful, or itemization becomes pointless really fast if you're just capping out. I think on top of this extra rerolls per GA, they should add some way to reset tempers. And this could be done with, in my opinion, a Resplendent Spark. Right now, the Uber drop chance on Tormented level 200 Duriel and Endariel is 10%. So if you are doing 10 Uber Duriel runs on average, you are getting 1 Uber Unique on average. You're not guaranteed to get it, but you are very likely to get it. And on top of this, you can just do the Iron Wolf questline. You level a new character, to about level 80 just by doing Hell Tides, and then you will unlock an extra and a guaranteed Resplendent Spark from that new character. There's also a big XP event coming up here, to 25% extra XP from the Mother's Blessing. And I think it's going to be like relatively quickly to level new characters if that's what you like to do. And then you could reset at least a very hard to get item with a Resplendent Spark. That would be one solution, one Resplendent Spark to reset the tempers on an item. This would only be the ultimate solution and only be on top of already having additional rerolls per greater affix. The second idea here that the chat and everybody came up with is maybe you could tie it to Scattered Prisms, because now they have increased the drop rate by Scattered Prisms. It's still a scarce resource for many, but the drop rate is a lot higher now. So it could also be about 30 to 50 Scattered Prisms. This would also be somewhat time gated because it's a scarce resource. You can only get them at the world bosses, at Legion events, and sometimes in Hell Tides, and Butcher and Goblins, I think. So you can't like just get hundreds and hundreds of these. And maybe 30 to 50 Scattered Prisms could be an alternative to those sparks. Some people also mentioned maybe use Stygian Stones here. But I don't know, Stygian Stones seem a bit too farmable, even though the drop rate is pretty low. But they are like very easy to trade for. You know, I think they go for like 20 million gold at the moment and stuff like that. People were suggesting like 10 Stygian Stones, but in my opinion, if it's Stygian Stones, then it might as well just be gold. And I think that's pretty lame. So I would much rather see some sort of like time gate with the Resplendent Spark or with the Scattered Prisms if Blizzard decides to go this route and allow us to reset temper rolls on top of the suggestion with the greater affix extra rerolls. I think that would be an acceptable solution. There was also some talks about time gating it, like literally to the time in the game. You know, if you bricked an item, like let's say I did here with this mace, it's bricked, and it would probably allow me to get an extra reroll, I don't know, like every week. Like, you know, every Tuesday when they do a patch, or when the patch cycle is, or when the gauntlet resets on Tuesdays, you know, like all the bricked items reset one temper reroll or something. That would be, I don't know, somebody suggested that. I didn't like it too crazy much. I thought also it's extra effort to program this. I think just again, in my opinion, the perfect way is to use a Resplendent Spark. But I could also see it being a bit cheaper. But I think it needs to be some sort of meaningful cost, like Scattered Prisms or something like that, to reset your items. But let me know what you think in the comments as well. And I think the just extra tempers on GA is a very, very good solution already. And then on top of this, maybe something to reset it. Also, one big frustration point, and this is already in the game, but it doesn't work with tempering. You guys can see here, when I actually enchant anything at the occultist here, you see I always have the option, I'll remove chat here for a second. I always have the option to do no change. And this is also a big frustration point with the current tempering, because you don't have this option when you temper, right? With temper, it's like brick it, or you know, you can never go back. Like either you YOLO or you brick it. So I have, for example, this is one of the best weapons that I've gotten in this game at the moment. I have this like insane mace for the best build in the game, which is the Bash Barb, built in the description, by the way. This is one of the best weapons. I managed to hit a triple crit on Bash, but the big problem is I still have tempers left. I only got 200 crit damage on my rogue, but if I go here in tempering and I put in this weapon, obviously I don't want to brick it, right? The risk is way too high. If I were, you know, to try to get, I mean, this is the wrong recipe, but if I were to go on my rogue now and try to get the stat that I want, I only have, I'm going to remove my camera here for a sec, I only have 3 rerolls left. So yes, I would still have chances to improve this weapon, right? But it would be stupid to do it because it already has 200 crit damage. I mean, yeah, I could get 240, or I might just break it. So there's like, the risk is just way too high to destroy your weapon if I would keep going now. And it has all these, I only use 2 tempers. I have 3 temper chances left. But it's just, there's just no way I would ever risk that, right? Like, And statistically, I'm only like, you know, 75% chance to get it. And then it might be a lower roll, or it might be completely wasted. And maybe an option like doing no change, like we have here when I enchant something at the occultist, could also be possible for the tempering, because it will just allow players to take a bit more risk without completely destroying the item and being very frustrated with this. Yeah, the Brick Nation here is in the chat. There are some pretty funny memes with the with people breaking the items. I mean, you know, as content, it's pretty cool. It's pretty good because people like to see other people suffer, unfortunately. But I have been breaking this triple stand mace here, and I have a couple more items here to do. And it's been a lot of hours invested farming these, and frankly, at the moment, man, I don't even want to do it because the chance of breaking these items is just so high. But I also recommend you guys, if you have a bricked item, like, you know, if you're breaking like a triple stat mace, you literally farm billions and billions and billions of gold, and then it all goes to waste. I know, like, for example, one of my friends, Baskinator, who's also a fellow content creator, big shout out, he farmed for weeks to get, I think, a gloves for his Sorc. Well, and then he got it finally, and then he bricked it. He paid, I think, like 2 billion gold for it. He farmed that by doing whispers and trading and stuff. And then he bricked it, like in 5 minutes. And then, well, yeah, go again, guys. We farm for another week. And that just sucks. What do you mean we need a brick emote? Here it is. The brick is real, my friends. And yeah, it can just lead to a lot of frustration. And I get it. And I think the extra temper rolls per GA, per greater FX could be pretty cool. And maybe some way to reset it. I still think the Resplendent Spark is the perfect scarce resource for this. If that's too high, maybe Scattered Prisms. Let me know what you think in the comments. But yeah, Brick Nation is strong. Keep your items if they are brick, guys. Maybe they will change this because there is a lot of people in the community talking about this. If you have a bricked item like me, I have like a bricked tab here. I just call it the brick tab. There's a couple of items in here, and I just put it in here like next to all the other bricked items, and maybe one day they will allow us to reset these items, and then I still have my 3 GA items that I didn't salvage yet, because yeah, maybe we can unbrick them. I certainly hope so. Yeah, but until then, Brick Nation, I hope you're having fun, and good luck not bricking your items. Not like all the other people. And yeah, good luck on your journey, my friends. We'll see what they do. We're going to get the mid-season update probably in like about 2.5 weeks. We should probably see a campfire chat is what I'm expecting here as well, as we are approaching just about over 3.5 weeks into the season. And we'll see what's going to happen. I hope you enjoyed, my friends, and don't break your items, guys. Use the pity system. GG. I can't even say it with a straight face. But try it. If you like this video, make sure to subscribe, leave a like or a comment. I'm also live on Twitch almost every day, so come and say hi.